working for you.
Bitter pill. The Senate rejects the Patient's Bill of Rights. Is this really the best medicine for your family? In depth, LA story. An arrest in the murder of the Los Angeles police chief's granddaughter. How they cracked the case. Lifeline. Beating the pain. New information on the powerful new treatments for migraines. And degree of difficulty. A young woman, her family, and the incredible obstacles she overcame to graduate with honors from Harvard.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. It is one of the hot-button issues of this election year, the so-called Patient's Bill of Rights, a demand that grew out of widespread frustration in dealing with managed care health programs, HMOs and others. And tonight in Washington, the vote came before the U.S. Senate, and it died there. NBC's Lisa Myers has more.
Even as half of all Americans report problems with their health plan, the Senate today narrowly rejects a plan to give patients broad new powers.
This is not rocket science. It is long past time for this Congress to stop protecting HMO profits and start protecting patients' health.
A Patient's Bill of Rights passed the House last year. A weaker version passed the Senate. But months of negotiations have failed to produce a compromise.
And tens of thousands of people are paying a price that they shouldn't have to pay because we have not acted.
The bill would provide greater access to emergency rooms, make it easier to see a specialist, provide an independent outside review when care is denied, and most controversial of all, allow patients to sue their HMO. Most Senate Republicans argue this goes too far and costs too much.
The Democrats don't want a bill, they want a political issue.
We shouldn't be passing legislation that's going to increase the number of uninsured. We shouldn't be passing legislation that's going to dramatically increase the cost.
Last year, the average family HMO premium was $5,742 a year. Studies suggest this bill would increase that by about $230 a year. But maverick Republican John McCain today breaks with party leaders to support the bill for the first time.
Well, I ran for president of the United States. I learned that there are millions and millions of Americans who are not receiving either the treatment or the compensation that is, I think, that they are entitled to.
A House Republican, dentist Charlie Norwood, warns that his party may pay a political price in November if nothing is done.
The American people are going to look to this Congress and ask them, why didn't you do this if we don't get this signed into law this year?
If Congress feels enough pressure heading into the election, it's still possible a deal could be reached this year. But as of tonight, the Patient's Bill of Rights is in critical condition. Lisa Myers, NBC News, the Capitol.
Another big health care development tonight. America's big three automakers announced they'll extend health care benefits to the partners of gay employees. This deal covers all 465,000 employees of GM, Ford, and Chrysler. A spokeswoman for the gay rights organization, the Human Rights Campaign, called the move a signal that same-sex benefits will soon be routine in corporate America. It's also clear tonight that the battle between Microsoft and the Justice Department is now one of fast track versus slow track. The Justice Department is eager to get the case to the U.S. Supreme Court, skipping intermediate steps, fast track. Microsoft thinks the order to break up the company in two should be stalled until the whole appeals process has been exhausted, slow track. NBC's Pete Williams.
Microsoft moves quickly, asking Judge Thomas Penfield Jackson to put the brakes on his order that would immediately change the way the company conducts business and eventually split it in two. In a new court filing, Microsoft says such radical changes in an industry as important to the economy as computer software should stay on hold until the company has a chance to get them overturned on appeal. But the government urges the judge to keep the heat on, claiming Microsoft is unrepentant, trying to use its monopoly power to strangle new forms of competition, like the growing handheld computer business.
During the time of the appeal, it's very important that further harm to the market, much of which has been thoroughly documented by the court, not take place.
The government says it's so urgent to rein the company in that the case should go directly to the U.S. Supreme Court, bypassing a federal appeals panel. But many legal scholars doubt that would work.
the Supreme Court may say this case isn't cooked yet. We need some more time, more deliberate consideration by the circuit courts before we're ready to take the case.
Justice Department officials say today wherever the case winds up, they're confident they can win. Even so, they say they're always open to settlement talks. But what if the Republicans win the White House and decide to back off the case? A former Republican Justice Department official says that could spare the company from a breakup, but would not get Microsoft off the hook altogether.
There's a judgment in this case. So it's unlikely that a new administration would or would be able to simply walk away from the case altogether.
Political party changes seldom derail antitrust cases. The big AT&T breakup was started under Nixon, carried on under Carter, and resolved under Reagan. Not a comforting precedent for Microsoft. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
And as Microsoft faces its possible split in the airline industry, it's merger mania. Some of the biggest air carriers are working on merger deals, but would that be good for flyers, for the American consumer? Here's NBC's chief financial correspondent, Mike Jensen.
The world's biggest airlines in a merger frenzy. American, the country's second largest airline, negotiating with Delta, the third largest. United, the country's biggest airline, merging with U.S. Airways, the sixth largest, waiting for government approval. Overseas, British Airways, Europe's largest, in merger talks with KLM. All this suddenly reversing what was done 22 years ago, when the airline industry was deregulated for the benefit of consumers. Back then, creating dozens of new airlines, slashing fares, making air travel as popular as going by bus. Millions of Americans now routinely traveling by air. Where will these mergers leave them? Worse off, says airline analyst Helene Becker.
I think no matter how we cut it, service is going to decline and ticket prices will rise.
Would there be any advantage to travelers from mergers? David Stempler says yes for frequent flyers.
These frequent flyer miles will be more valuable to passengers because people will be able to fly on more destinations on these larger airlines.
So what's the big worry? In a word, concentration. Cities dominated by one airline, some of that already happening. Denver dominated by United, 73% of the passengers. And Pittsburgh practically owned by U.S. Airways, 86% of the passengers. Not surprising, the government is concerned. At the Justice Department today, the man who took on Microsoft warns the airlines.
There is a great deal of hub dominance by individual carriers, and I think it raises significant competitive concerns.
So will all the new mergers go through? Analysts say don't bet on it. The airlines will have to convince regulators, case by case, that their mergers will not send ticket prices through the roof. Mike Jensen, NBC News, New York.
It was a down day on Wall Street. The Dow was off more than 144 points. NASDAQ was dragged down as well. It was off almost 14 points on the day. Up next, murder in Los Angeles. NBC News in depth tonight. An arrest in the killing of the granddaughter of the police chief of Los Angeles.
If we unite together as a department, a city, and a community, we can fight this violence. Enough is enough.
Close to home, the brutal murder that shocked the city. That's tonight's In Depth. Lifeline, migraines. What really causes those debilitating headaches? New information about your health.
It's a rare occurrence you won't want to miss, where everything is on sale during the Chrysler June 2000 sale. Now in June, you can get the biggest cash allowances of the year on Chrysler minivans, $2,000 on Chrysler Town & Country, $1,500 on Voyager, and get up to $1,500 on select new Chrysler cars. Or get great lease rates. The Chrysler June 2000 sale. You've never seen a June like this before, and you won't see a June like this again.
My dad was a coach at Georgia School for the Deaf. I grew up in an environment where deaf kids kind of adopted me in their culture.
Thank all of you for coming to the camp today.
When I first went to Merrill Lynch, I was very impressed with Steve Malone. He was very easy to talk to, and he listened well.
So it's important for all of us to listen well and to cooperate. Every day you're building your future.
These acid-reducing pills are great. They don't just relieve heartburn. They keep it from coming back for hours. How are you going to improve that? Watch. For the first time, lasting relief in a soothing liquid. New Tagamet liquid. Fact is, you'd have to come back to the Mylanta bottle and back 4 times to get the lasting power of 1 dose of Tagamet liquid. Lasting power in a soothing liquid. Tagamet.
Nothing like food and water stolen from a precious little azalea.
Thanks for the meal, Red.
Some life we got here, eh?
Yeah, remember the time they sprayed us?
A waste of time.
Didn't touch our roots. We grew back
better than ever. Ain't nobody gonna spray us now with all these delicate flowers around.
Right, Red?
Say, what's that?
Roundup kills tough weeds, even near flowers. Roundup. No root, no weed, no problem.
Tomorrow, something's in the air. Ever get a headache after a flight? With dozens jam-packed in a small cabin, how clean is the air you breathe? NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
Dateline Friday. Sports fan. Why are some so out of control? Violence like this is becoming all too common. What can be done to stop it? An all-new Dateline Friday.
NBC News in depth tonight. Murder in Los Angeles. The killing of the granddaughter of the city's police chief. Today, Chief Bernard Parks personally announced that a suspect now has been arrested in that shooting. So far this year, there have been just over 180 homicides in Los Angeles, 24 of them gang-related. But the point-blank shooting of Chief Parks' granddaughter stands out. NBC's George Lewis tonight on the arrest and a grandfather's plea to an entire city.
Still grieving over the loss of his 20-year-old granddaughter, Police Chief Bernard Parks today announces the capture of the suspect, a crime solved with the help of citizens who tipped off investigators.
Never thought that I would be here talking about my granddaughter in this fashion. And I just would like to say thank you to the community and the mayor and this department for their support.
Police arrested 18-year-old Samuel Shabazz. Officers say he's a gang member previously charged with attempted murder, but the case never went to court when the witnesses failed to appear. Lori Gonzalez shot a week and a half ago as she was pulling out of this fast food restaurant. Police believe the real target of the shooting was her companion in the car, Ernest Gray, a childhood friend. Police say he and the suspected gunman, Shabazz, belong to rival gangs. A week earlier, Gray himself was wounded in another gang shooting. Chief Parks says despite family concerns, his granddaughter didn't worry about being with Gray.
Lori has known him since she was about 10 or 11 years old. They grew up in the same neighborhood. And often, as we look at kids, they go in different directions. Yet sometimes people do not realize just how negative association can be. They just view themselves as being friends for the last decade.
Nationwide, gang killings are down. 2,925 in 1996, 2,642 in 1998. The last year's statistics were available. And ironically, Los Angeles is one city where gang killings are way off, down from 370 in 1991 to 136 last year. But with his granddaughter now one of the grim statistics, Chief Parks says there's still too much violence.
She was our first grandchild and will always be our first grandchild. And it's amazing since this has happened, the number of people I've had contact with that will tell you about their son or their daughter or their cousin. There's a great deal of people in our community have been touched by violence in some fashion.
Police say they're looking for additional gang members who may have been in on the killing. Tonight, Samuel Shabazz sits in the Los Angeles County Jail, held without bail on murder charges that could bring the death penalty. George Lewis, NBC News, Los Angeles.
A high-profile shooting will hold the public's attention for a while, but the family of the victim, the pain goes on and on. Daniel Gross's younger brother Matthew was shot in 1997 by a gunman on the observation deck of the Empire State Building. Matthew survived but suffered brain damage. Tonight, Daniel Gross on random violence that changed his life, in his own words.
You know, every time one of these terrible tragedies happen, it takes you back there to, you know, to the day when, you know, you experienced your tragedy. And, you know, you share in some of the grief that the family and the loved ones must be feeling. Well, it was February 23rd, 1997. I was at home taking it easy because we had been out the night before watching a basketball game on TV, watching the Knicks-Lakers game it was. And the game was interrupted, and it said that there had been this shooting on top of the Empire State Building.
Building's observation desk.
Like an ordinary person would react to something terrible like that. You know, watch the footage, saw a lot of the victims being taken out of the building, one in particular who had obviously been shot in the head or the face. And there was a commercial break, and the phone rang, and it was my father, and it told me that my brother, Matthew, had been shot. And as it turned out, you know, the person that I had seen being rushed out of the Empire State Building who had been shot was my own brother. At the time of the shooting, I was a partner at a big advertising agency at J. Walter Thompson, and I just found that I couldn't go back to work, but also realizing that there was an opportunity to do something about it. I quit my job at the advertising agency, and I co-founded PAX, an anti-gun violence organization. You know, miraculously, when something like this happens, you just look for the small blessings, and we have a huge one because my brother's alive. We still have I still have a brother, my parents still have a son.
Daniel Gross tonight in his own words. Still ahead, graduating from Harvard with highest honors, a degree of difficulty, and life lessons for all of us.
We are what you are. We feel what you feel. We see what you see. We're your fans.
We're the United Automobile Workers and General Motors, making and donating the cars and trucks our U.S. Olympic team hopefuls need for the long road ahead.
Together, we're the team behind the team.
Nature made it. Minwax makes it beautiful with rich wood stains and long-lasting protective finishes. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
This one? Not perfect. Oh, mate. This'll do.
In the Outback, we take our food and our fun blooming seriously. And we never get too much of either one.
So, how was it?
Not bad.
Outback Steakhouse.
Early light breaks through. Music and dance calling you. Just need that mountain grown lift before you share your gift. Now there's rhythm and sound, making their hearts pound. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I can eat corn on the cob, and I can eat the apples, as long as I've got Super Polygrip on these dentures. I know that it works. I mean, it holds my teeth in place. Using the Super Polygrip, I can continue auctioneering. Bid 35 now, bid 40 now, 5, 45 now.
Now get DirecTV and get 2 months of 32 premium movie channels. And you'll also get 25 specialty sports networks. Free! Hey, there's something for everyone. So what's not to like? DirecTV, now with local channels.
Tomorrow on Today, girls and boys of summer will be outside rocking to the music of Don Henley. Brought to you by the incredible edible egg, only on Today.
Gore versus Bush, Decision 2000, only on NBC.
In Washington tonight, the Environmental Protection Agency is banning the most widely used household pesticide sold under the name of Dursban. It is found in more than 800 products, including flea collars, bug sprays, and lawn and garden products. The concern that the pesticide poses a health risk to children, potentially dangerous effects on their nervous systems and on their brain development. Not a lifeline, and there's some very good news tonight for millions of Americans who suffer the terrible pain of migraine headaches. Scientists have made a breakthrough in determining what really causes migraines. That could lead to a new generation of treatments. Here's NBC's Robert Hager.
The nation's leading researchers on migraine headaches say today they now know the headaches are caused by a disorder of the brain and not of the blood vessels as once believed. A finding that may soon lead to breakthroughs for the 28 million Americans who suffer from migraines, like Kelly Banks from Springfield, Virginia.
When I get a migraine, it's like a vice over my entire head. The pain is excruciating. I cannot function.
Or Nancy Ritchie from Hockessin, Delaware.
It affects everything. It affects all your plans. It affects every weekend. It affects your whole life.
Migraines cause 150 million lost workdays in the U.S. each year, cost $13 billion in lost productivity.
Today, the National Institutes of Health brought medical experts to Washington to review the latest on causes and emerging treatments.
Among those experts, Jefferson Medical College's Dr. Steven Silberstein, who says modern brain scanning has shattered previous beliefs.
Migraine, we used to believe, was a disorder of anxious, neurotic women whose blood vessels overreacted. Migraine is not that. Migraine is a neurobiological disorder of the brain.
That means, the doctor said, the headache starts when something triggers nerve cells in the back of the brain to fire off tiny electrical charges that ripple very slowly across the top, spreading pain, and finally spread down to the very base or stem, vital to so many of the body's functions. What triggers this? Doctors say it seems to be light or hormone changes, especially estrogen, lack of sleep, or maybe, only maybe, certain foods. Findings leading toward breakthroughs, says NIH's Dr. Gerald Fishback.
We're on the threshold of an even much greater pace of change in migraine research.
Finding that genetics may have a lot to do with migraines, and new drugs now aimed at the brain that can prevent about half the headaches for some, or drugs called triptans, which can stop one in progress 2/3 of the time. Not perfect, but enough to offer some relief to Kelly Banks, Nancy Ritchie, and millions of others. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
And there's a great loss in the world of cartooning tonight. Jeff McNelly, just 52, died of lymphoma. He was the man behind the comic strip Shoe and the brilliant political cartoons for the Chicago Tribune. So brilliant, McNelly won 3 Pulitzer Prizes. I'll be right back.
I'm here to demonstrate how Whiskas' new savory nuggets with crispy outsides and soft centers compare to the typical dry cat food. Observe the difference at impact. Now ours. Trying this again.
These cats are totally ruining the experiment.
New Whiskas with savory nuggets. What cats want.
Eddie, is that you?
Yeah, I've come back to warn you. Beware the spray.
The spray got you? But you were near the tree.
It can't get you near the tree.
Fools! The spray is like no other. One moment I'm fine, the next my roots are like mush.
Eddie, will we be okay?
I don't know. Is dead okay?
Roundup kills tough weeds even near trees. Roundup, no root, no weed, no problem.
Let's be honest. There's really no such thing as a gracious winner. You might say things like nice game or shake your opponent's hand. But no matter how humble you are on the outside, deep down on the inside, you're saying, I'm better than you are. The Mitsubishi Galant, ranked the #1 family sedan under 20 grand by Car and Driver. Better than Accord or Camry. Boy, we just love saying that.
Every kid knows, if you want to make the big leagues, you better eat your Wheaties. And every dad should know, whole grain Wheaties may help prevent cancer. Numerous studies confirm a low-fat diet rich in whole grain foods like Wheaties may reduce the risk of certain cancers. So when he does make the big leagues, you'll be in the front row. 100% whole grain Wheaties and new Wheaties Raisin Bran, champions in the fight against cancer.
Around here, it's not every day we all get together.
Oh, we're making them dinner. Come on, you guys. Smaller pieces, please.
But when we do, it's great that the folks at Kraft make Italian.
I love this stuff.
Because it's the one thing we agree on. That way, we can talk about what's on our minds instead of what's on our plates.
Whose idea was this? Well, Taylor has a boyfriend.
I guess they just know what we like.
A what?
He's a senior.
He's a senior.
Around here, the dressing is craft.
Another reason.
Just ahead at 6, your credit card rates are going up, but we will tell you how you can stop it from blowing your budget at 6. Also tonight, T-Pack is a sellout, and it's not a Broadway play. It's a dance recital put on by some Nashville kids. See what all the fuss is all about just minutes from now on The Scene at 6.
This is the time of the year when American dreams are fulfilled. College graduation. Almost every commencement has the story of perseverance and hardship, a graduate who inspired others by prevailing against long odds. But at Harvard today, a story unlike any other, even in the long history of that storied institution. Tonight, Katie Couric and the degree of difficulty for Brooke Ellison.
It was early September 1990. Brooke Mackenzie Ellison was walking home from her first day of 7th grade on Long Island, New York, when she was struck by a car. She was 11 years old. It was a devastating accident. Brooke suffered a spinal cord injury that left her paralyzed from the neck down, a quadriplegic.
Ed and I both had to learn all of Brooke's care before they would even release her from rehabilitation. She is on life support, and she cannot initiate breaths on her own.
I still had my life. I still had the ability to love. I still had the cognitive ability to recognize people and be the same person I was.
Jean and I made a commitment that if it was at all possible that she was going to go back into school, be with her class, graduate with her class. Didn't really know that it was going to require that Jean go back to school with her. You know, she'd been going back since the 8th grade. She went back in the 8th grade, 9th grade, right through high school.
And no one counted on her getting into Harvard.
In fact, Harvard really jumped through hoops to figure out a way to accommodate you, and that must have been very flattering.
I was so flattered and so stunned that they would really go to the lengths that they had gone to in order to get me here.
In fact, not only was Harvard extremely generous with financial aid, it also provided a van to shuttle Brooke to classes, concerts, and campus events. Harvard even renovated a dorm room to accommodate all her medical and physical needs, including space for Jean. Together, they went to classes, the library, football games, and the campus pub.
The two of them together, I mean, Brooke accomplishing what she's accomplished, and Jean's allowing her and helping her to do that. It's such a beautiful thing to watch.
If the Ellisons have supplied the heart, technology has opened the doors.
617, close friend.
It blows my mind. You can command your computer with your voice?
Yes.
To perform certain tasks?
Yes.
You have is this right, a keyboard?
Yeah.
That fits in your palette?
Yes.
I can't believe that.
No,
That is
I was really
so
astonished
wild.
myself when I heard of the technology. Yeah, it's called a tongue touch keypad, and it sits on the roof of my mouth like a retainer, and it works the chair and the mouse on the computer, and it can turn on the television and lights and telephone.
Brooke had the independence and determination to graduate from Harvard in 4 years, majoring in cognitive neuroscience with an A- average. Her thesis, The Element of Hope and Resilient Adolescence, earned her a summa cum laude, the highest honor possible. She was also one of 4 students selected to speak yesterday at Harvard's Class Day.
Both my mother and I have learned so much from all of you. What we hope you can learn from us and from each other is to take no one in your life for granted and delight in the moments you spend together.
That's Nightly News for Thursday. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
A little girl is bitten by a dog in a Nashville park, and now she could be forced to undergo a